My work best friend secretly recorded me to sabotage my promotion, so I played the full recording in a department meeting. Full story. The first time I realized something strange was happening at work, it wasn't because someone said anything to me. It was because people suddenly stopped talking when I walked into rooms. At first, I thought it was just stress. But then one afternoon, I heard my own voice coming from behind a conference room door. And that's when I realized someone in my office had been secretly recording me. What I didn't realize yet was that the person doing it was the coworker I trusted the most. Follow us for full stories posted daily. We're serving fresh tea all day. Back to the story. Hello, Tea Talk. My name is Natalie, and this is the story of how my work best friend secretly recorded our private conversations for weeks so she could sabotage my chances at a promotion, and how she accidentally exposed herself during a department meeting when the full recording was finally played. I work in marketing at a mid-sized company. Our department isn't huge, maybe 15 people total, but we work pretty closely together because most projects require collaboration between multiple teams. For the past year, my closest coworker had been Olivia. Olivia and I sat 2 desks apart. We ate lunch together almost every day. We complained about deadlines together. Sometimes we even grabbed drinks after work. If anyone had asked me at the time who I trusted most in the office, I probably would have said Olivia, which makes what happened next feel even worse. A few months ago, our department manager announced she was leaving the company. Leadership said they would eventually promote someone internally to fill a new team lead position. Naturally, a few people in the department were interested. Olivia and I both talked about applying, but it didn't feel competitive at the time. If anything, we joked about how weird it would be if one of us ended up managing the other. I genuinely believed we were rooting for each other. Looking back now, I realize Olivia had very different plans. About 2 weeks before leadership planned to discuss the new team lead role, I started noticing something strange. Coworkers who normally chatted with me suddenly seemed uncomfortable. One person ended a conversation the moment I sat down at the lunch table. Another stopped inviting me to group coffee runs. At first, I thought people were just stressed, but the tension felt personal. Then something happened that I still remember very clearly. One afternoon, I walked past a small conference room near our desks. The door was slightly open. Inside, 2 coworkers were sitting at the table listening to something on a phone. As I walked by, I heard a voice from the speaker. My voice. I froze in the hallway. I could hear myself talking about a project that had gone badly earlier that week. Before I could step inside, one of the coworkers noticed me through the doorway and quickly stopped the recording. When I asked what they were listening to, they awkwardly said it was just a podcast. But I knew what I heard. And that night, something finally clicked in my head. Every time I could remember venting about work recently, Olivia had been sitting across from me. For the next couple of days, I quietly asked a few coworkers questions. Nothing dramatic. Just small things like asking if anyone had heard rumors about me being unhappy at work. Most people avoided answering. But eventually, one coworker hesitated long enough that I knew they were hiding something. Finally, they admitted Olivia had been sharing short audio clips of me complaining about work. According to Olivia, she was concerned about my attitude with leadership discussions coming up. The clips apparently made me sound bitter and negative. The problem was, no one would actually show me the recordings. They said they didn't want to get dragged into workplace drama, so now I knew what Olivia was doing. But I had no proof. And confronting her without proof would just make me look defensive. For 2 days, I walked around the office pretending everything was normal. Inside, I was furious. Then one evening, a coworker messaged me asking if we could talk after work. We met in the parking lot outside the building. They looked nervous. Finally, they said Olivia had sent them another recording earlier that day. Olivia told them it was just another short clip of me complaining. But when they played the file, something strange happened. The recording didn't stop. Olivia had accidentally sent the entire audio file instead of the short edited clip. My coworker handed me their phone. I started listening. At first, it sounded like a normal lunch conversation between Olivia and me. Olivia said something like, "Did you see the presentation Daniel gave this morning? That pitch was a mess. I honestly don't understand how people like that still have jobs here." I remembered that conversation. I had responded casually, "Yeah, it definitely could have gone better." If someone played just that sentence by itself, I could see how it would make me sound harsh. But the recording kept going. Olivia immediately followed up. "This whole department is falling apart. Management keeps approving work like that and pretending it's fine. I heard my own voice again, sounding more hesitant. I mean, yeah, things have been kind of chaotic lately. Then Olivia continued criticizing coworkers and management even more aggressively. And suddenly, everything made sense. Olivia had been starting these conversations, pushing them in a negative direction, then clipping my responses out of context. But the most important part came at the end of the recording. After our lunch conversation ended, Olivia must have forgotten the phone was still recording, because I could hear her voice again. She was talking to someone nearby. And she said something that made my stomach drop. Honestly, I just need a few more clips like that. If Natalie applies for the promotion, I can show management exactly what kind of attitude she has. That's when I knew this wasn't just gossip. It was a plan. A week later, our department held a strategy meeting with leadership. Everyone from the marketing team was there. 2 executives, HR, the interim manager. The meeting was supposed to focus on what qualities the next team lead should have. Olivia spoke early in the discussion. She talked about how important positivity was in leadership. Then she added that negative attitudes could damage team morale. I noticed a few people glance at me, because they had already heard the clips Olivia shared. When the executive leading the meeting asked if anyone else wanted to speak, I raised my hand. I said calmly, "Before we talk about leadership, I think something needs to be addressed first." The room went quiet. I explained that someone in the department had been secretly recording coworkers during private conversations. Then I said Olivia's name. She immediately tried to interrupt, but I continued. I explained that short clips had been shared around the office to make me sound unprofessional. Then I said something Olivia clearly wasn't expecting. I recently heard the full recording. I connected my phone to the conference room speaker. Then I played the audio. Everyone heard Olivia start the conversation criticizing our coworkers' presentation. They heard my mild response. Then they heard Olivia escalate the criticism even further. The difference between the real conversation and the edited clips was obvious. And then the final part of the recording played. Olivia's voice saying she was collecting clips in case I applied for the promotion. No one said anything. The entire room just sat there in silence. Finally, one of the executives asked Olivia directly if she had been secretly recording coworkers. She tried to say the situation was being taken out of context, but several coworkers admitted they had received the clips she sent. At that point, HR stopped the meeting. The leadership discussion was postponed. Olivia was asked to stay behind after everyone else left the room. Over the next week, HR interviewed multiple people in the department. Eventually, Olivia was no longer working at the company. Officially, they said she resigned. But everyone in the office knew what really happened. The promotion process reopened a couple months later. This time, things were handled much more carefully, and eventually I was promoted to the team lead position. But the whole experience changed how I see workplace friendships. Because the person who tried to sabotage my career wasn't just a coworker. She was someone I thought was my closest friend in the office. So tell me, T-Talk. If someone you trusted at work secretly recorded your private conversations and used them to sabotage your career, would you expose them publicly the way I did? Or would you handle it privately and try to avoid turning the entire office against them?